Welcome back to Four Nerds Save the Universe, or in this case, Two Nerds Save the Universe, or Two Nerds Save You $20.
Yes.
Episode 2.1, I guess, because it's just going to be the two of us, and we're going to scratch out the 4 and write 2 instead, and it'll be such high quality.
No, maybe this should be rebranded. The spin-off podcast.
Oh no!
From Save the Universe.
Like the BirdCatcher and Sebastian SB movie corner is called Rebranded. That's so weirdly accidentally apt.
Yeah, it works out well enough.
So this is going to be a spoiler cast where we spoil the shit out of Suicide Squad, the movie that just came out, which we both think is garbage. But maybe we should start off by just mini reviewing it a little bit, so people have some idea of what we don't do and don't like about it in vague terms before we move on to spoiling the shit out of it, because that's the fun part, is talking about all the details of why it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any
high level, I'll just summarize my thoughts. Visually, art direction, really great. Fantastic looking movie. Everything else is garbage.
Yes.
Literally every other aspect. Writing, acting. Costuming and makeup, that was also really good.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
It's decent to look at a lot of the times, as long as you're not talking about it in motion.
Uh-huh.
It's a good series of screenshots, is what the movie is.
The 3D effects, bad. Because I saw it in IMAX 3D, and I will tell you all about why that was a mistake.
The funny thing is, I almost went and saw it in D-Box, so we would have had two different weird perspectives, but I ended up not making it at the right time, and just saw it as a regular-ass movie, like I think most movies should be seen still. But,
it's true for this one, too.
It's weird to watch a movie that fails on every level.
Yeah, soundtrack was good, though.
We're going to argue about that. We're going to argue about that.
I'm not really going to bring it up anymore. But the sound design, the soundtrack was good. But yeah, everything that you care about, like writing, plot, characters, dialogue, humor,
spectacle.
Action,
it doesn't do any of the things.
Appeal. Terrible.
It does no things.
Absolutely terrible.
It's.
I guess if you wanted a scale of 1 to 10, for me, I'd give it a 4, a 3. Just not good. Just really not good.
It might be a 2 or a 3 or something for me. It's as pointless as numbers kind of are a lot of the time. It is just a movie that has no redemptive value to it.
Yeah.
And I've watched movies for really specific redemptive value sometimes. Spectacle and soundtrack and stuff like that. I have watched the movie Sucker Punch multiple times, not for story, but because you see girls in leather fighting against steampunk Nazi zombies with a bunny rabbit mech while White Rabbit plays, and that kind of crazy happens. I've watched movies for those reasons before. Turn off your brain, just watch the funny music video movie thing.
You can't even do that with this one.
No, this movie doesn't have.
You can't.
It fails on the Guardians of the Galaxy level of just having a series of fun characters doing fun things or whatever. It fails on the Dark Knight level of trying to be a serious film about criminals forced to do a death mission before they get killed by either the mission or their own bombs in their heads. And it fails as just turn off your brain and watch explosions and stuff happen, because the movie doesn't have spectacle. It has a bunch of really rapidly edited nonsense and some gunfights that are boring, because it's not we're watching shoot 'em up. We're watching two guys. It's the most boring way to film a gunfight, where you see people on one side of a screen shooting to off frame, and then it cuts to the other side and you see other people shooting off frame. And it's I guess they're fighting each other.
People are just pew,
and everyone's and all the bad guys magically are getting hit by bullets, and all the characters that do matter are magically unharmed in any way and never even close to getting in danger. There's no reason to watch this movie. There's nothing to hold on to. It's this is the decent part. I was blown away by how I just never had a good time.
Totally 100% on board with that. You proposed we just start from the beginning of the movie, and just talk straight through all the problems with it.
This is as just the final closing thought. This is the feeling I haven't had in a movie since Transformers 4.
We'll talk about feeling in this movie.
So that's our mini review, I guess. If you want to just have an idea of what we feel about this movie, because now we're just going to actually talk about the contents of the movie nonstop, and you might want to just sit through it anyway, because maybe
this is the in-depth. This is where we really spoilercast the shit out of it.
Sometimes it's fun to watch, to just listen to people talk about how shitty something is instead of actually witnessing it yourself. Because, man. Alright, so, the movie opens up with character introductions.
Will Smith.
As you'd expect from any movie that has way too many characters. They have to do every single character back to back. Which is already a massive warning sign.
Yeah.
Every single movie that's an ensemble cast of a whole bunch of characters, they inevitably have some kind of basic main character or two main characters. And this movie does too, because Deadshot, as Will Smith, is the main character. So all you have to do
and Harley Quinn
is focus on him for a while and move, and maybe Harley Quinn and so on and so forth. But this movie opens with giving us an individual introduction for every single character for 6 consecutive characters.
It's I think the movie doesn't start for about 50 minutes. I think it's about 45 minutes of character introduction. It felt so long.
It's shocking how long the movie feels like you're watching the previously on part of a television show.
Exactly.
Where every scene's 20 seconds long, and you barely know what's going on, and it's just seemed to rely on you already knowing what's going on. But it's not true to the comics on pretty much every level, so you can't know what's already going on, because they made up these characters by and large.
Yeah, pretty much. But so, it introduces Deadshot, it introduces Harley, and then there's a government lady being like, I'm Angela, and I'm the government, and I say that we need to assemble a team of supervillains, and then a general's like, say what? And that's basically the setup. And then it introduces.
I forget because of the threat that actually gets introduced. But do they ever at any point give you a reason why they're making this team of supervillains? Which seems like a terrible, stupid plan.
Okay, so Angela basically says in World War III they're going to be using mutants.
So she's the equivalent of people who build shelters for the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
It's for hypothetical problems. We're going to do this insane plan where we take dangerous people out of prison and hope our bombs work to blow them up if they go out of order, because something might happen.
Yeah, so but before all that happens, I think the big warning sign for me was when they introduced the character of El Diablo, who's this guy who can magically make fire come out of his hands. And they introduce him. And his entire scene. Okay, so it introduces Deadshot for basically.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about the different durations here. Let's start with Deadshot first, though. First of all, one little warning sign here is that there's 2 types of Will Smith characters. There's the smartass, bouncy character from Independence Day and from Men in Black. That's he's gonna be the smartest guy in the room, and he's always gonna be really funny about it. And then there's the one where he's just going to break down crying constantly. And this film is the Men in Black character and the Independence character for the entire movie, except every single scene where his daughter shows up, he immediately is bawling. And it completely is a different tonal change. But here, the big warning sign here is that this daughter is his immediate reason for getting caught by Batman, who is in this movie for 3 seconds. And when he gets caught, this daughter does not act at all. And I genuinely started to wonder. I was
Daddy,
kind of
please.
Does he have more kids? Does he? I don't know. Because he has a tendency to be in movies and music videos with his kids that aren't that talented, and they do shitty jobs. But he's making that M. Night Shyamalan movie with his son and stuff like that. And I'm just used to that at this point. I genuinely don't know if he has a daughter that age, because she's.
I don't know if that's a Smith daughter or what.
I don't know, but
her
whole performance is I know you hurt people, Daddy. It's okay. I still love you. Don't hurt him, Daddy. And I'm this is the best you could find? She doesn't have emotions. She's
nobody in that movie did, so...
Is she asleep?
She fit right in. If she did have emotions, she would have been the best damn actress in that movie.
I know. There's not a lot of people to beat. You basically just have to beat Robbie, whoever Harley Quinn's played by, damn it.
Margot Robbie.
Margot Robbie, there we go.
Yeah.
I had the spelling of one name. I knew she was going to be good because she's in, have you seen Wolf of Wall Street?
No.
Because she just is good in films,
I know
basically.
that she did a stellar performance in that movie, so...
But Will Smith's whole thing is he's a criminal. You see him dispatch somebody for money because he's a mercenary that kills people. But then, like, he's a family man. So, like, literally, there's one scene to set up that he's a mercenary that kills people, and one scene to set up that he's a family man, which is how he gets caught. And that's all his character development, because he has
that's all they have time for.
He has bullet point character traits they have to do one scene at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you get
all they have time for.
But then here's the bit, like, that was just a minor thing of, oh, child actor, whatever, it happens even in good movies. But the next scene was the first warning sign for this movie, which is the introduction of Harley Quinn. Because Harley Quinn is introduced as basically a pole dancer, and that's how she starts off in the film. And it's not even like I'm not even talking about like gender things or anything like that. It's just like an issue of like the entire Harley Quinn introduction scene only serves to introduce that the Joker's dangerous.
Yeah.
But Harley Quinn's the character that they're trying to show why she's in the Suicide Squad. Because like they use expensive technology to put a chip in her brain to blow her up if she disobeys, so that she could be an asset to this team that's going to save the world. And her trait at this point is that she can pole dance, and her boyfriend's Scary, who is not on the Suicide Squad. So, what?
Harley Quinn comes across as, like, completely not a threat to anything ever.
Yeah, she basically doesn't have a reason to exist in the movie besides being the most famous character in the movie.
Right, and
like,
having a lot of, like, tude.
She's there because people are more likely to watch a movie that has Harley Quinn and the Joker in it. And so they put Harley Quinn and Joker on the cover and give her a lot of screen time. And she uses that screen time as an actress, but the character wastes the screen time for the most part. But the thing here is, like, you also have the problem of, like, you're going out of your way to introduce the Joker because you want people to see the Joker to pay for the movie, right? But he's not the Joker. Like, he doesn't.
It was bad.
He's not any
really
of the Jokers.
He was really, really bad, man.
Yeah.
The Joker was just hot garbage in that entire movie.
It was baffling.
He didn't feel like any familiarity that you would expect from the Joker. He just felt like a very generic, like, villain.
Yeah.
Like,
and like,
there's just like, you're gonna not sleep with my wife? That's weird. I'm gonna shoot you.
Like, that's two
it's
problems,
just a scene
too.
that happens.
Here's the problem with that, by the way. The wife scene, like, he may as well just be like the equivalent of like Woody Harrelson from Seven Psychopaths. Like, that's not in any way a scene that's like, yeah, that sure is the Joker, or even like, that's sure new take on the Joker. It's like, no, that's just like a gangster move of like, oh, you said something about my wife? Well, I was already mad at you anyway, so let's just set up the scene where I'm going to shoot you in the face in my nightclub because I'm a gangsta character, and I've watched that movie 10 times already.
Yeah, the thing about the Joker is that he, like, is, like, deep down under, like, so many layers. He's a very consistent character.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're missing that, if you don't tap into, like, the consistency behind the Joker, then you just are basically writing, like, a weird psychopath, and it doesn't make any sense.
But not even, like, a good psychopath, because it's not like,
right.
Wow, what unreasonable behavior. I'm just like, wow, that's the behavior of everyone that's ever been that character in a film. Like, that's the behavior of every, like, guy who's, like, got the, like, nightclub swagger and I own everything around me and you're disrespecting me. Like, you see that even in prison movies with way less colorful lights, but just like, I'm the king of this prison and you've stepped out of line.
Respect me.
So I'm going to do a mind game before I kill you. Like, that's...
And let's be honest, the number of tropes in this movie,
oh, God.
like, that one's a big one. But I counted 3 instances where a character walked through other characters and just shoulder checked them.
Oh, yeah.
3 times that happens in a movie. They couldn't come up with more way to show off, like, a I'm in charge move than that.
Every single time it's like I'm a big tough guy.
One.
I'm a hot shot. And then the other guy's, well, I have the power in this dynamic. And then they shoulder check him.
Yeah. 3 times, I think. Might have been 2.
Oh,
I
man.
think it was 3, though. So my first warning sign after Harley Quinn was El Diablo. Dude who shoots fire from his hands. He got about, I want to say, 15 seconds to be introduced. It was like 5 minutes of Deadshot, 5 minutes of Harley Quinn, 10 seconds of El Diablo. El Diablo, ironically, had by far the best character arc. And absolutely the best.
The funny thing is, I had a slightly different reaction to El Diablo just because it was so vague but pregnant with like some kind of inference there. Like, instead of just being like open and closed, I was like, wait, that's you're asking a question here and not just showing a scene. So like, I was ready for him to actually have a character development later on that explains more of what's going on there, and like they were laying the seeds. And I'm like, wow, that's the right thing to do. That's how you should be introducing all these characters, is like making us somewhat curious about them and then develop them over the course of the film, which is this is the only character they do that with. But as the film developed on, I started getting more and more convinced that this was just going to try to rip more and more things directly from Guardians of the Galaxy to try to save itself. And everything about that character is like the Rocket Raccoon character of like, let's be vague about him from the beginning, slowly infer more things about like a dark past, and then literally have a scene where he breaks down emotionally at a bar.
Yep.
Like, it's the same plot arc, except with a slightly different ending. But both storylines end with sacrifice, just slightly different people being sacrificed. But it's a terrible
but the concept of sacrifice, everybody like gave up something in this movie, but it has a Disney ending where it's just like, and everybody wins and everything's fine. Like, nobody actually like lost anything. No character grew as a person in this movie. Like, one person literally dies and comes back to life.
And one character is implied to have a character arc, but basically just doesn't have an arc. They just go against their own best interest out of nowhere. Basically, is their arc, and there's no real reason behind it. Like,
I gotta cut this recording for a second.
All right.
I ran out of hard drive space.
Oh no.
So at least I caught it. So let's stick a little. We'll have to stitch this. I mean, and by we I mean you.
Let's see here.
What were you just talking about? And then
just
remind me what it was, and we'll pick up as if this never happened.
We had fun technical problems. No, this is just the show now. So they're introducing these 6 characters. 2 of them get like probably like 5 minutes of screen time each. Well, really, it's the most screen time for Deadshot, and then one scene that's mostly Joker for Harley Quinn. But then, like the tiniest glimpse of El Diablo happens where they're like, he turned himself in after showing like a burning house. But then it gets worse. Because then they bring out Groot,
Crocodile.
Because it's a 6-person crew, but those 2 people got proper introductions. One of them got a vague, like, seeding the story for later introduction. But then you have, that momentary blank of his freaking name, Killer Croc.
Killer Croc, yeah.
Killer Croc is just shown kind of thrashing some dudes a bit, and then I guess they caught him. And that's Captain Boomerang is shown...
Yeah, what the fuck?
Presumably robbing a bank or something, and then he, like, throws his boomerang at his cohort to take him out, and that's his whole scene.
Yeah.
And the big warning sign here, of course, is that, like... Have you heard about the controversy? Not even the controversy. Have you heard about like the weird thing with this film where supposedly they either test audienced it or they saw how Deadpool did and how poorly received Batman vs Superman was, and presumably like reshot things and probably re-edited things and stuff like that? Because like, here's where immediately I felt the feeling that this was happening, which is that in this film, suddenly everyone has these really jarring songs being played over their introduction scenes the moment they get past the first 2, because the first 2 are just actual movie scenes, but after that, that's like, we're gonna show Killer Croc and we're gonna play a Creedence Clearwater Revival over him, Fortunate Son, and like, maybe they're trying to say that like some folks are born silver spoon in hand, like to say that Crocman has a hard life or something.
They didn't think that hard about it. It was just straight up like, he's from the South.
It's just songs.
It's just songs
happening.
There's no relation.
And this starts happening for the rest of the film, and mostly during the front and the back, but a few other times too, where they start rapidly cutting to various really recognizable, really popular rock songs, and it'll just play a little bit. Like, you'll just suddenly hear Seven Nation Army for a few seconds because reasons, and then it'll cut away just as fast. And at some point, I think they're like... I think this game was so cynically I just said game again, damn it. I think this movie was so cynically re-edited that they actually looked at Guardians of the Galaxy and was like, well, that one had anachronistic music being thrown into it. But, like, Guardians of the Galaxy uses music in like as an actual punchline half the time, and it's actually interwoven into the scene. And Star Trek Beyond and Star Trek even the first new Star Trek, both have moments of using weirdly out of place music, but that's actually part of the film on purpose, and it's not a weird, like, it doesn't feel like somebody's, like, anime music video on the internet. And this film falls completely flat at that, because it just keeps playing random songs for no reason, and then cutting them away over and over again. And it starts to feel like it's trying to masquerade in higher quality works, like Hannibal Lecter escaping in somebody's skin from prison.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Like, I covered you in things you're familiar with and already liked, so you'll like me too. And I'm like, you're just taking White Stripes and Creedence Clearwater Revival and stitching them together over your film, and there's no cohesive to it. It's gross and weird.
And I mean, you'd mentioned cynical editing. Like, holy shit! Can we talk a little bit about that? Like, the middle. Okay, so we've pretty much covered the first act, because straight up, like, a bunch of other shit happens that just does not matter.
Oh, yeah.
Just like they just show people like shooting shit and just being like Harley Quinn's just like, I have a baseball bat now. So you sit through that for another like 10, 15 minutes, whatever. Act 2 is when things go from bad to worse.
What are we calling Act 2?
From the moment they enter the city, and it goes to nighttime.
I'm not quite ready to go that far yet, because we still talk about the villain.
I'll just mention that, like,
okay,
the editing in that section was just nuts. Like, it would be like somebody would be like two people would be talking, and then there would be a cut away from one character, and then a cut back to the one character, and he'd be like on the other side of the frame.
Oh yeah, they're teleporting around.
Like, people were teleporting around. People would be, like, at the bottom of stairs and then at the top of stairs. And just, like, everything was disjointed. And, like, we know, with a movie that has as big of an ensemble cast as this does, that movie probably has, like, 7 hours of footage that they cut down to be 2.5. And it still was, like, super long and felt Spartan in every aspect.
Oh, even there's also the issue of, like, when a film has those weird cuts that don't make sense continuity-wise, oftentimes it means that they had one film they planned, and then they filmed that film. But then they decided in editing they wanted a different film, so they try to take the lines of dialogue and splice them together back to back in a way that tries to make it fit. And they just kind of ignore any impact it has on the continuity, because they want to change the conversation using existing footage, almost like you're trying to do like a weird political smear video or something. Like,
exactly, yeah. Taking things out of context and trying to stitch a conversation out of them.
They're doing dialogue surgery, basically.
It's nuts. It's so weird.
It does not work. It does not work.
It doesn't work.
But so look at the squad we have here. So they started off good here, because they're talking about a suicide squad of, like, these capable warriors that you're going to turn against your enemy or whatever the hell's going on here. So first person, Deadshot, that was a great idea. He can do impossible ricochet bounces like he's Bullseye from Daredevil and murder people instantly. That's great. Okay, makes perfect sense why he's here. Harley Quinn has a bat, I guess. She has a bat. She likes.
She has a bat and a gun, which she never uses.
Yeah, she has no reason to be there. Killer Croc, okay, super powerful, super monster. You put a bomb in his head, you can probably get him to do some stuff for you. Captain Boomerang has a boomerang
with a camera attached. And he has a batarang.
And the game, over the course of the film, they make no effort to, like, establish that he's super dangerous or resourceful.
He drinks beer and he has a stuffed animal.
He doesn't have, like, cool gadgets really, besides the fact that sometimes his boomerang can be kind of a camera, I guess. He has a fetish
for purple, pink unicorns, and he keeps a stuffed one in his coat. And I felt like they were trying to build up a joke.
I don't know.
I assumed what was going to happen is that he was going to get shot, and then, like, the stuffed animal will absorb the bullet somehow, and he would have been like, "Oh, crikey!" But that never happened.
No, they kind of made that joke.
It was money.
Yeah, it was money instead of a stuffed animal.
Which was
it's still dumb.
Even dumber. Somehow they managed to... They put all the elements of the joke in and then farted out the punchline incorrectly.
Oh, yeah.
I don't understand how that happened.
Captain Boomerang feels weirdly like a character where every scene he was in was deleted. Because he just doesn't do anything in the film. And, like, he never does
Not in scene 90% of the time.
He's mostly not on camera. He kind of comes in to say, like, a one-liner that's never funny. And, like, at the very least, I thought maybe he'd be the one, like, you know, maybe he'll be your Rocket Raccoon in this film. He'd just have, like, these really biting things to say to everybody all the time, and he'd be kind of likable for that reason. Because when Rocket doesn't have like a super gun or something, he's kind of just an awkward raccoon that doesn't get that much done in certain scenes. But like he squanders that because like he wants to taunt El Diablo, like, oh, you got fire powers. And what does he do? He pulls out a lighter and he doesn't have like a biting comment or anything clever. He just goes, woo!
That played well in my audience, though. Everyone liked that. I thought it was kind of funny. Yeah.
The only time my audience ever laughed was when it was basically every time that Killer Croc said something that made him seem black.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
like,
people would laugh at that a little bit. Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
Which
like,
I guess it's unexpected because he's a big giant guy that never talks. So when he says something funny, I guess it works on people. But other than that, nothing.
Yeah.
Like that fire scene was just dead silent in my very full theater. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I was sitting there thinking, like, aren't you supposed to have like a joke for that or something? Because it's like the only reason this movie was
relentless in its zingers, though. Like every single person had something quippy they had to say.
Were they landing though? Like ever? Did you find them landing?
Yeah. I mean, I would say they had like a 30% hit rate.
Oh no!
Like Harley Quinn's like, oh, we're bad guys. It's what we do. Like that one was universally just like,
the joke from the trailer.
Yeah, like the trailer joke was just like not good.
Yeah, they're walking down the street and she breaks a window to steal a purse, and then it's like, what? We're bad guys.
Nick Flag's like, what? Why'd you do that there, sugar? Or whatever the hell he sounded like in 90% of that movie.
I wonder if you even see that purse after that scene. Because supposedly this film refilmed a bunch of scenes to try to make it funnier because of Deadpool. I wouldn't be surprised if they added that scene in afterwards, and that's why it just kind of happens and never gets acknowledged, and there's no payoff for her stealing the purse as like a joke later or anything, like she beats somebody with it or something. And it's just
I wouldn't be surprised if that was just yet another victim of like the horrible hack job that was the editing of this movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it definitely was.
Absolutely.
But that just left a really bad taste in my mouth.
Let's talk about the villain of this film.
So really, you want to crack that open?
Yeah, well, because it's part of the introduction of the film. Still, like in Act 1 is how it happens. So, superhero films are already infamous if they're not the Dark Knight. Basically, they're infamous for having terrible villains. Like, across the board, especially Marvel.
They're just very flat.
Like, every Marvel film is like, look at all these accolades and compliments we have for all these things in these films, but the villain is basically someone who's maybe blue and they want a gem that does powers. Yeah. And it's like, it's basically just an excuse to have the MacGuffin that you chase after with your fun characters, and then you beat the bad guy at the end, and that's it. But this
movie is particularly egregious with how bad its villain is, though.
Yeah. Because they basically set up the villain in the first couple minutes in a series of very stupid scenes, and then you just never see the villain until the end of the film, more or less, where they just get taken down.
She basically is a summoner, and she's like summoning a weapon that'll destroy the world, and she's like, okay, that'll take about an hour and a half, so I'll see you guys in the final scenes of the movie. And that's basically it. That's literally it.
What's really baffling here is that I think they were writing the script for this, and they realized midway through a problem, because the summoner, the enchantress, like, she can just conjure her superpower and just make it happen. So I think they realized when they were making the movie, like, oh, we're gonna put a Suicide Squad together to take down the enchantress, and then they probably realized, oh wait,
she could just kill them instantly.
Or no, like,
so we need to make her busy.
Well, I think they realized that it would take way too long to make the Suicide Squad. So, like, crap, we need to introduce the Enchantress after Suicide Squad already exists for no reason. We need to make the Suicide Squad exist already so they can actually take down the Enchantress, even though logically that's the kind of threat you would make the Suicide Squad for in the first place, when it was basically an unprecedented problem in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, the idea was that
they put the cart before the horse. They introduced the squad, then they introduced the problem, which makes no goddamn sense.
You're supposed to have your Avengers scene where somebody takes Loki's spear and mind controls Hawkeye, and like all these, like, oh, we have a threat now, we better bring the Avengers together to take it down, like that kind of thing. because you need to have like a problem first to explain why you're creating your really risky, really dangerous, really expensive secret covert ops crew that literally people can get killed for knowing about. Like, you need a reason to make that crew.
Which happens on screen.
Yes, which happens on screen. The person who makes the squad literally just executes FBI agents for knowing that she exists.
She kills like 6 programmers for being in the same room as her when they shouldn't have been.
It's so...
Which she says, she was like, they didn't have the authorization to be in here with me. And it's like, then why did you let them in? You're like the fucking,
it's a nightmare.
Queen of this,
It's a nightmare. But we need to talk about the Enchantress themselves, because, first of all, visually, one of the coolest villains I've ever seen, which of course they squander by immediately making her not look like that anymore.
Yeah.
Because she looks like this. If you look up the Enchantress for Suicide Squad right now on Google, like, you get the cool-looking Enchantress that looks like a really cool villain. But instead, because she's a split personality between this archaeologist that discovered her originally, for the rest of the film, she looks like the childlike Empress from Neverending Story, where she's got like the sad baby face and flowing locks and flowing like robes everywhere, and like she looks like this, not even remotely like the thing that the villain is for some reason, and they think that's the cool villain for the film, is just this like character that looks like she might as well be played by Natalie Portman. It doesn't make sense to go from one to the other.
Like, I thought it was weird how the Enchantress got prettier.
Yeah.
For like no reason. Like, she starts out like this weird like Aztec looking person, and it's like really spooky.
Like, she got prettier because when they ripped her heart out or whatever happened that fixes her, she just starts looking like the person she possessed. She
just looks like Cara Delevingne. But like, that's it.
And like, you can, like, from a logic perspective, you can kind of see why maybe you could make up some voodoo reason with nonsense of why that might be what happened, because whatever, fantasy storytelling. But why would you make that decision for your film when the Enchantress looked like a villain before and stops looking like a villain the moment she looks like the childlike Empress from freaking Neverending Story?
Right. Like, I don't know.
But let's talk about how she breaks free. Because, first of all, she's a super powerful, crazy god character who can instantly teleport around the world like it's no big deal. And your plan is that you're going to keep her heart in a box? Like, I guess it had, like...
the box locks when she gets close to it.
Yeah, but even that's, like, barely explainable. First of all, she comes into the room, and then you see the box lock afterwards. But you've seen how fast... She teleports across the entire world, grabs secret documents, and teleports back in, like, 1 second. So, the delay on that box opening doesn't make sense, because, of course, she could still get into it. But, like, I interpret it as maybe, like, the lady has to touch the fingerprint every X number of hours to stop her from just like maybe killing her heart on its own. Like, maybe the box is programmed to do that. I don't think the game ever explains that, but I just inserted that in on my own because it made more sense that maybe the box will auto kill it, because it's like one of those things.
That's what I assumed, is that she had Deadman switches set up for everything.
But it never says that, does it?
No, it doesn't.
We both inferred that because every movie ever is like...
It made more sense that way.
Yeah, you can't kill me because all these files will leak out that destroy your corporation and stuff like that. Like that kind of thing. I gotta make this call every 12 hours. So we both make that assumption, but the film, I don't think, ever says it. Instead, it's just a box that locks, I guess, because they never told us that it was going to do that. So... But then this whole time... we find out that she has a brother who's also we'll call him the Enchanter. I think he had a...
I guess so.
He was Incubus, right? He was called Incubus.
I don't know.
It stood out to me because it's a band name, but I think he was literally called the Incubus. He's basically her, again, with like superpowers and the ability to move around. I think he is...
But he's got a deeper voice.
Yeah, and I think instead of teleporting, he can like mold bodies together to become more powerful or something. But where is the Incubus hidden all this time? Apparently the black lady that runs this entire operation just knew about the Incubus the whole time because it was just a statue. And apparently
I guess it is called the Incubus. Yep.
It looked like it was in her bathroom, in her apartment, basically.
Yeah, I thought it was in her bathroom too.
Yeah.
What? Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Maybe,
she just goes into her bathroom and pulls out a statue.
Like maybe because the Enchantress teleports, they failed to properly explain where she was going when she went there. But it looked like she literally went to the next room in her bathroom of her apartment, or even hotel room, wherever she was, just picks up this important statue and just takes it and ruins and causes the entire film to happen.
Yeah, like mentally, okay, you see this person laying in a bed, they travel a lot, you assume they're in a hotel room. Hotels, how many rooms do they have? They have 2. One is a bedroom, one's a bathroom. She goes from the bedroom into another room. We're all thinking she just went to the pooper. And she pulled out a statue containing her, 10 billion-year-old brother. Which, by the way, why would you keep those 2 items next to each other?
Yeah.
Why would you keep the heart and the incubus in the same
Or on that
area?
note, why is the heart in a thing that's super designed to not let her get to it, but the statue with her brother is just sitting there? Yeah. Why doesn't it have a giant Magneto fortress around it, specifically designed to keep it not from getting away? Like how Magneto always has a plastic fortress that's meant to imprison him and stuff. There should be precautions here. And the reason this exists, really, because the Incubus is a stupid character that has no reason to be in the film and doesn't really matter by and large, besides closing off the arc of El Diablo later. Ultimately, the only reason Incubus exists is just to get around the heart problem. But they could have just not had the heart problem in the first place. All you need to do to make this film more elegant and less stupid is just have some person, say an archaeologist that's going out for power, accidentally goes out and finds this relic, gets possessed by the Enchantress. Oh no, a super god's going around, we got to assemble a team to take her down. That's all you needed.
Yeah, why did they do anything about trying to get her to betray the Suicide Squad?
Yeah, this entire part of the film where she's under any control from the government, and they have the magical heart that holds her and everything, literally serves no purpose for the film, because she never does anything for the government over the course of the film.
The purpose is to give Colonel Rick Flag a love interest. But for why?
And
why do we care?
Even then, he could just know the archaeologist already.
Yeah.
This whole part with the heart in the box that's poorly explained and poorly handled for the entire film and thrown away 5 minutes after it's introduced could have just not been there. Yeah. And you would have made the film simpler, which would have made it easier to watch, so you wouldn't have to have a different scene cut shorter. Every 20 seconds. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be shorter. You'd have more time to actually flesh out characters that matter, since you clearly don't care about this one anyway. Because she goes off camera immediately, and we never see her to the climax, aside from a couple cutaways of, she's possessing people. And it's just, maintenance, just reminding you she exists, which is always a bad sign for your villain when you just have scenes dedicated to reminding you that they're in the film.
Right, yep. Which could be said about all of the Killer Croc and Boomerang scenes, by the way.
Yes, by the way. Yes. Jesus Christ.
Or the katana scenes.
And every Killer Croc and Boomerang scene specifically feels like it was edited in afterwards to say a one-liner that might be funny to some people, because the film was too serious before. And then you have no more character after that. And Killer Croc himself, we talk about Boomerang not doing anything, which is true, but Killer Croc is basically just a walking Chekhov's gun, because he's introduced at the beginning of the film. He's like, I'm a crocodile, I swim. That's his whole thing, basically. Yep. He then proceeds to not be on camera for the rest of the game, rest of the film. And then at the end of the film, he swims to do a thing. It's like, wow, good setup and payoff.
He swims through some sewers.
That was worth keeping around for the whole film. And while he's around, all you need to sell his existence in the movie, which is easy because he's a super powerful punchy man.
Just have him punch one thing.
Yeah, just have a Hulk scene. Any scene where it's like, wow, what a spectacle feat of strength in this superhero film starring a supervillain that's a Croc man. You just have to have him do 2 things in the film of oh yeah, remember that's why he's here, because he does the super cool thing where he can pick up a fucking car or something, or pick up a they fight a golem version of those possessed putty monsters we'll see later and rip them apart, literally like you're ripping apart a geode or something with his bare hands.
You want to know why they didn't do that? Because they gave all that to El Diablo instead.
Oh yeah.
That's all they did. They gave it to him. They had 2 characters basically fighting for the exact same moments of spectacle, and El Diablo, okay, so, the movie ends with him, basically transforming into, an Aztec god himself that, wrestles with Incubus, and he's like, this is after a whole bunch of development or whatever. He's like, I don't want to be, a villain anymore. I don't want to feed into my powers.
Because he's the only character.
Let me just feed in my powers over the course of this movie, and then it ends with me becoming Satan. I don't fucking know.
Well, he's the only character arc of the entire film because he's introduced as this character that regrets that he
has
accidentally killed his entire family, basically.
Yep.
And then he's like,
So
I'll never use my powers again because of what happened last time. And they transition slowly to, I'll use my powers for good. And then he dies using his powers for good, basically. So it's like, it's kind of an arc in a movie that's otherwise completely bereft of them. So at least there's something there. But he mostly amounts to being a guy who stands around in the background for the whole film until the one scene where he uses fire.
Yep. And then those are like the spectacles.
And like I gotta like nail this home too, because like you're gonna hear me say Guardians of the Galaxy all the time throughout this thing, because it's such a comparable movie of like, let's make a movie where we introduce like 6 brand new characters you've never seen before, and all of them have to fight for screen time to do a mission. And in Guardians of the Galaxy, guess what? Every character has like actual scenes and moments to shine, and character development, and a cool action scene to justify why they're on the team in the first place, and all that stuff happens. Which is why it doesn't make sense that this movie can't do any of those things at all. But yeah, let's start with the city, finally, because now that we've done the villain, we can get past the intro scene, which was largely, the entire intro was just like, previously on Suicide Squad, the film that never happened.
So like, Act 1 is done in like basically an hour into this like 2.5 hour movie. Like that's about the time when the movie actually starts and they've introduced everybody.
Exactly. Like not only is Act 1 done, but you may have noticed that nothing's happened so far.
Yeah.
We literally just have characters. We have a roster, and most of them are barely characters.
So yeah, the trope has been done where it's like they basically have like bomb collars where it's like, if you disobey me, your head explodes. You know, the thing that has been popular in science fiction for like 70 years. And so they're like, oh, we have to go into the city and rescue a person. And this is where the movie gets terrible.
Here's a warning sign already. Just them getting here in the first place. Immediately after this long sequence of introducing way too many characters, they then have 2 characters walk on screen who have never been introduced.
Yeah.
And like, why did we even do this then? Because, like, we have this guy who I had to look up online to find out his name's Slipknot, apparently. And he's the 6th member of Suicide Squad.
The guy who can climb up walls and he gets killed.
Yeah, and by the way, as far as I can tell, Enchantress was supposed to be part of Suicide Squad, right? That's the only reason she's already around. Before Enchantress ever betrays them, in the scene, like, they have a lineup of all the faces of the Suicide Squad. She's not one of them, but Slipknot is. No. We've never seen Slipknot, so I'm like, why is Steven Seagal in the background, and why is not Enchantress in there? But yeah, Slipknot is this villain, apparently. But also, Katana shows up, so because apparently there's a member, they also have like a metahuman character.
They need her to be like the cop, basically.
Yeah, she's like the guard dog that is not a member of Suicide Squad, but is like functions like them, but of course is actually legitimately on the government's team, basically.
Yeah.
But she just shows up.
Yeah.
And it's like,
literally,
what? You just had these 2 people walk onto the set, like, what the fuck's going on? And so like immediately you're watching this and you're like, okay, Slipknot he looks like the most boring character in the history of movies, because he's just a guy from a SWAT team, basically. And so you're immediately like, oh, this is a movie where people's heads explode if they disobey. Guess what he's gonna do? And then 2 seconds later, guess what he did? His head exploded because he tried to run away. Yep. Holy shit!
Because they had to establish the danger element. Yeah, we as the audience were too stupid to believe like, oh, they're actually in danger. No, they have to show somebody on screen for about 6 minutes just to get exploded.
Oh yeah. And it's like
just to establish this.
And it's so lazily done, because it's like it's this thing where like it's on one hand it's kind of show don't tell, like, okay, cool, they showed the thing where heads explode. At least we have seen that happen. But at the same time, like, he's not a character to care about. Like, if you want to have this have any impact of any kind, you actually give us a history of Slipknot. And then it's like a random character gets killed out of this crew of characters you already know about. Like, oh shit. Like, you have like your, Alien... I want to say it's Alien 3 or something as a movie where, like, this one character gives Ripley this long conversation monologue about, like, hope or whatever the hell and redemption while sitting in this one creepy lab and everything, and immediately gets murdered by a xenomorph, and you're like, oh shit. I like that guy.
The movie is, like, so weird with, like, how, like, I was praying that the movie would end with the entire Suicide Squad dying. That would have been awesome. That would have been great if they actually did die, because then it would be an ironic name.
But
and
instead
I would have
they
had
didn't
so
die.
much more respect.
Instead, Steven
But you know
Seagal
who
died.
did die? So many goddamn mooks. So many.
Everyone who's
So many
not
of
a
these,
member
like,
of the Suicide Squad in this film basically
villains.
dies.
Yeah, so just tons of like faceless villains are just like
And
they're just like,
faceless
oh, we're
government
the
people.
baddies. We're running. We're gonna get you. And then they like just die, and it does this for like 40 minutes. Just them, just like walking into a room, killing 7 like putties, and then walking to another room and killing 4 putties. Walk up a staircase, and they kill 16 putties. Why?
Oh man.
There was nothing. And I will say, okay, here's a weird experience that I had while watching this movie. And I have never, ever had an experience like this. But, like, in this movie, a lot of cops die. A lot of cops and security guards die. And I have never really been in a situation where I've seen people die on screen, and I actually felt like shocked by it. Offended in the sense of, like, people who are like, wow, media's too violent or whatever. I actually had that moment. Because I was like, they're just literally, like, with everything that's happened to, like, police in the past, like, year, and it's just, like, it was so stunning to see, like, police officers, like, walk into a room and just get, like, murdered. And I was like, this is, like, actually offensive?
You get, like,
I don't know how to feel about this.
You get one of the most weirdly brutal
panic
scenes.
thing. Huh?
You get one of the most weirdly brutal scenes from the villain in particular, where he collapses in a subway station to pretend to have a seizure, so people will gather around him and try to do CPR and stuff, and then tentacles shoot out, and he does like the thing from The Thing, where they incorporate them into their body and shit, and fuse together like the dogs in the pen, which is a kind of cool villain thing, by the way, that is completely never used again, and also mostly off camera, because because like every other part of this film, they're terrified to have it actually be about villains or dark in any real capacity. So even when something creepy happens, it's off camera. But that was weirdly the most brutal thing in the entire film, and it would
because he kills a doctor who is trying to like help him,
and it's in a horrible like body horror kind of way too. Yeah. But then that's just a villain with random faceless people you've never seen before and never will hear about again. Where the whole film was about villains who are supposed to be ruthless, and they never do anything ruthless. And the whole movie they fight they fight putty monsters from Power Rangers. Exactly, like it's just they're fighting claymen. Like they're just
they are.
It's non
like they shoot him and then they go like into like putty.
It's like that issue with like the what is it like how whenever you want to have like a good guy and you want to keep him a good guy, they take down the bad guy, but then the bad guy dies from like their own hubris because the good guy can never actually kill the bad guys in films, even though that's like the only way to get them to stop in most situations. So the bad guy will just jump off a cliff or something. It was like a similar thing of like they have a film starring genuine bad guys and still won't let them ever be bad guys at all. This might as well just be a slightly roguish group of superheroes that have like slightly like Han Solo personalities.
That's all they weren't villains. They were just like
they're just kind of rude.
Yeah,
like they're Han Solos. That's it.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
It's like it is like it's the rock. It's like if everyone was Rocket Raccoon. The entire cast of characters is trying to do one-liners and be like the outlier, like rough character, but not actually bad because they're a thief with a heart of gold. But that has to be every thief all of a sudden, and to the point where they even do like the honor among like a drink amongst thieves at the end of the film to just be like all on nose about this shit. And like, if they're not villains, then what's the point of the premise?
Exactly. Like, so let's wrap up the act 2 because there's really not much to talk about. They walk through a city. They kill putties. And, like, it's literally, okay, when I say they walk through the city, I'm doing that a little bit of justice. It's like they teleport from one location to another location to another location.
Oh, yeah.
Oftentimes within the same building. Like, they're in the lobby, and then, like, Harley Quinn teleports into an elevator. And then she takes the elevator to the top, and then everyone teleports up to the top of the elevator a little while later.
I was legitimately mad about that. Harley Quinn takes an elevator up a mall, one of the like hardest to like actually move around without an elevator type of buildings that exist in the world, basically, to the top floor, and no one expects her to do it, and everyone's already waiting for her at the top, and I'm like, what? Like maybe like one character could get up there because they have like I mean, if Slipknot was alive, he could get up there.
Yeah, I know, but everybody else is like instantly up at the top, and she's like, "What's the matter?" And it's just like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then, okay, from that, you know what happens after that? How did Killer Croc get
up there? How did regular ass Soldier Man get up there?
So they go to the top floor of this mall, and then this is literally what happens. They walk through some hallways. El Diablo messes up the path they were going to take, so they have to take a side route, which takes them to some stairs from the top floor of the mall. They are at the bottom of a staircase, and they take the stairs up and teleport to the top of the stairs. So this is a mall. They start at the ground floor. I'm trying to hammer this in. Take an elevator to the top, take like 40 flights of stairs from the top of the fucking mall. And they teleport every time.
Now I'm trying to remember, like, did they pull that one brand of bullshit? I can't remember the specific jump cut now, but I'm kind of curious if they did that one bullshit that they always do in these films where they start a conversation and then somehow the next line's on the roof, but like they had to walk all the way up there. But
no, they did it with flashback. Harley Quinn was having flashbacks.
Oh yeah,
and then she was like, "Did you ever fall in love?" And Deadshot was like, "Nah," and she was like, "Bullshit!" And then they were at the top of the stairs.
We might as well talk about that because that's in every part of the film, so there's no place to specifically slip it in. Which is that this film keeps having flashbacks and side scenes with Harley Quinn's past, so that we can try to see more Joker in the film. And
it's really just an excuse to get more Jared Leto. Yep.
Yeah, like not only are they really pointless scenes because they have no impact on the actual events of most of the film, but also they just constantly re-cement how boring the Joker is in this film, because he's just a guy who is kind of menacing and sits around a lot, and like he doesn't have the laugh really. He kind of does a laugh a little bit, but not even close to the laugh. But even if you're not doing that, because like the real laugh kind of wasn't in Dark Knight, for example, you never sell him as like some sort of interesting character that was worth reinventing. Because like there's two Jokers more or less. There's like the almost cartoonish trickster type psychopath. Like you get hints of him in like the Golden Age stuff, but also in like the animated series where he's just
animated Batman 90s series. Yeah,
I'm gonna squirt you in the face with this flower or do laughing gas, and I'm gonna have such a joyous time doing these horrible deaths that are weirdly not violent looking, but are ruining people.
Yep.
But also there's the one we're more used to with some of the more recent comics and also in Dark Knight where he will straight up skin a bitch.
Yep.
And like, if you wanted to make that intro scene work, if you want to be the right Joker from the first scene, that guy doesn't get shot, he gets his face cut off. If you want to be the psychopath Joker and actually make it the Joker, you fucking cut his face off. You do something that's horrible, because that's the other Joker is actually something so far off the line of psychopath that he's really troubling. But instead he's just a guy that wears paint. But like, that's it? Like, there's nothing special about him.
There's nothing special about that Joker. He doesn't even look like anything, right? He just kind of looks like if they put a zombie in like a purple Michael Jackson suit.
He's got like pale skin that could just be his actual skin color. Like not even like not acid drenched or painted, but like he could literally just be pale. So he's just a guy with shitty tattoos and green hair and like teeth caps that like will shoot a dude because he's a gang leader. But like that's it. That's his whole character. And like I can't believe they cast Jared Leto for this in the first place because like, despite being someone who likes to wear black face paint and scream about his emotions into a microphone and in his band and shit, like his best performances are stuff like Dallas Buyers Club, where he's this kind of subdued character, like and like he's actually like a really good actor in a lot of films, and none of those have ever been like, wow, he'd sure be good in a superhero film with like a larger than life character, because everything about every performance he's done that's been good has always been like this kind of subdued, realistic sort of portrayal of a character.
Right, this did not go to his strengths whatsoever.
So we got a subdued Joker.
Yeah, so we did. We got a subdued Joker who like I don't even know what the hell to describe him as. Just like
Oh yeah.
It's not anything.
I mean, we even got a subdued Joker in a film where the Joker himself is barely in the film, which is the worst time to have a subdued character at all, because if you want him to stand out or even work as a character, then they have to really put that character in the 2 minutes they're in the film. But instead
he has to bring it because he's only got like 40-second scenes all the time.
Instead, he's a walk-on cameo, basically. Like it feels like when you're watching Thor 2.
He's an excuse to like sell shit because it's just like, look at the Joker driving a cool car.
Yeah,
you could drive that cool car if you went to FordMotors.com or whatever.
It's like watching
Thor 2. Or like the Joker's drinking Bacardi because cool people drink Bacardi. It's really like that.
To talk to your merchandising point, there's even the point where like he has a whole bunch of unique screen presence in a music video. There's a music video for this movie that heavily features the Joker, and it's all actually made for the music video.
I did not hear about this.
Yeah,
the Joker Suicide Squad.
It's called Purple Limo or Purple Lamborghini or something, as an obvious reference to his purple suit and stuff like that you expect the Joker to be wearing.
And the purple Lamborghini that he... Skrillex and Rick Ross, Purple Lamborghini. No!
So,
what?
like, if you watch the music videos that are on the official soundtrack of this film, you get a whole bunch of scenes that are literally spliced straight from the film, but this music video is jam-packed with unique Joker footage made just for this music video. So, like, it's like they almost put more of him in that than they did in the actual film, where he mostly doesn't do anything. Or matter, or have any personality. Like, the one scene where they had the moment to salvage this Joker character and make it work was that the movie actually has an asylum scene. So you're like, wow, this is perfect. And they just don't use it to make him
they use it to talk about Harley because they can't ever decide whether it's a movie about Harley or Joker whenever she's on.
Yeah. But even like all he does is like, instead of having like really creepy dialogue or like vocal performance or just anything going on, he's just like, I need a gun in like a slightly squeaky voice or something.
Yeah, he's like, you need to get me a gun.
And then then all the prisoners are free. And he's like, let's get them, boys. Basically, like it's just like
and then he tortures Harley, and that doesn't make any sense at all. Like. Why that changes Harley's personality? I don't know.
That's comic book logic, though. That's that entire scene where Harley Quinn becomes Harley Quinn instead of like
falling in the paint,
instead of being Miss Quinsel or whatever her original name was. That's something straight out of like the Gotham television show of like people go into an insane asylum, something happens where they like electrocute them or whatever, and then they're magically crazy people now. Like that. That's pretty. I'm used to that from Gotham stuff and dark and black and like and I almost said Dark Knight, just Batman stuff in general. Like I'm used to that concept, so I kind of accept it as a comic book thing. But like it's weird how like they take a moment to have that scene, and like they already had like they already did the stripper scene, they did the car crash scene, like they had Harley scenes already, but now they did that scene where it's the insane asylum, and they don't really show like their budding like romance and their creepy relationship they're happening. A narrator just tells us that.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, she was falling for him, the narrator says. And they don't.
And then it's start being like, do you love me, Harley? Or not like, Ms. Quinsel, do you love me? And then she's like, yeah. And like that's it.
This never comes anywhere close to like the audio logs from Arkham Asylum that try to sell the Joker Harley back and forth that happen and stuff like that. Like it's just it's such a nothing. They just tell you that it happened. And if you're gonna have a scene where nothing is shown on screen, but you're taking up time with it anyway, and the narrator just is saying what's happening, like, oh, she was falling for him without showing them falling for each other at all, then just tell us that and don't have the scene. Because, like, you didn't do any, like, showing us didn't show us anything. You just told us the thing.
It was apparently show and tell.
Yeah.
All right, I do need to probably wrap this up pretty soon. So
there's not too much more to talk about because a lot of the problems I've already discussed here. But like, just going forward with time, like there's the we talked about how she just the lady just kills all the other agents and stuff like that. we go forward in time, and we're getting to like the big climax. The villain is making their doomsday weapon, and like you have the scene where Deadshot, who the Deadshot finds the file that explains what this whole mission was for, which is that they're taking down the Enchantress. Because apparently,
and then he's like, "Why'd you lie to me?"
Yeah,
it's like, how did nobody fucking see the Enchantress doing her thing?
Like, they literally got to the point where they were fighting putty monsters that were clearly not human anymore, and they kept the mission a secret still up to that point. And I'm not sure if they ever said why. Like, why do you need to keep your mission a secret from people that are literally already on a suicide squad where they can't leave anyway? But they kept this mission a secret for some reason up until now, because reasons. So the secret of the actual mission, which of course the audience knew the whole time, so there's no revelation here, comes out, and this is a big plot twist moment to the characters themselves, but not for us. So they have the most forced, like, we're about to do the final battle, so now let's have our lowest moment in Guardians of the Galaxy by having our emotional outburst in a bar. So like, well, we need to get to a bar. So they're like, oh, I need a drink. And they literally walk into the bar they're standing in front of, conveniently, and they all have drinks where they try to have their emotional scene where they develop El Diablo, be like, basically just saying he killed his entire family because he's just an idiot, basically. And and it doesn't really go anywhere, and like the dialogue doesn't make sense for the most part. Like Harley is weirdly confrontational with him about it, and somebody was like, why is it that every time you open your mouth it's always got to be a sword fight? And it's like, when has she argued with anyone this whole film? Ever? She's had like a couple one-liners, but like that's literally like that's a line that's in a response to like a Harley we haven't seen in the film, basically. But then Rick Flag comes in and is like, I got letters from your daughter, Deadshot. And Deadshot's like, you had these the whole time and you didn't give them to me? We're friends now. It's like this forced sentimentality.
That is literally it. I am not making anything up. Yeah. That's not the literal dialogue.
Of course
that
not.
Is exactly the spirit of it.
It's not the real dialogue, it's the how it should have ended, like a shorts dialogue when it gets written and animated later. But like, that's what happened. No,
it's literally like your daughter writes to you every day, Deadshot. I'm going to leave the bar now and
went to the bar.
Try to get my girlfriend.
They went to the bar because they were lied and betrayed, and then the guy comes in and reveals another way. Yeah, another deception. And then he's like, well, that two wrongs make a right. Now we're good buddies.
Yeah, like Deadshot's like, you had these the whole time? We're going to go and we're going to get your bitch back or something like that. And then he's just like, what?
And so then the guy destroys the thing that lets him trigger people's collars. So now they all get to live and they won't get blown up. And so then they all decide to stay, and they all do the mission for no reason, because none of these people know each other. They have no loyalties to each other. There's been no bonding scenes, but now they're all going to die for each other for some reason. They need a moment
for everybody to walk and look cool as the Suicide Squad, which is in that next scene, is them walking while like music plays that's like do 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 do, and they're just like walk.
No.
Step.
And they go from that directly to the final boss fight for reasons. But I gotta do one quick aside, because I realized we skipped over it a little bit. It's easy to skip over because of how pointless to the film it is. There's a subplot where the Joker's gonna break out Harley. Like, we're gonna magically disable your collar, and we're gonna get you out of here, and I'm accidentally doing a voice that Jared Leto doesn't do in the film. But, they disable her chip somehow because they kidnap a doctor, and they spend so much time on this subplot that doesn't go anywhere.
And he chips the doctor, and we never see the doctor in the movie ever again. He puts a bomb in another person.
They see the doctor. No, they see the doctor
appears.
later because he's in the helicopter doing the computery stuff to fix Harley's collar in real time right there. It's like 2 seconds of cutting away, but like you barely see him.
I actually totally missed that.
Yeah, you probably blinked. But they just come in on a roof on this helicopter, and they're firing on the entire Suicide Squad except for Harley, and Harley's collar's disabled, so she can just join them on the helicopter. And here's where some really dumb shit happens, which is why I wanted to go back to this really quick here. So what happens is they're escaping on the helicopter. Harley Quinn's doing some straight up like that Vegas show.
Pole
what's
dancing.
it called? the Vegas
Stuff.
they're always hanging from wires and shit.
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. She's doing Cirque du Soleil moves on this film, which I mean that's Harley moment. That makes sense. That I'm that's her circus moves. I'm like, that's great. I'm happy those made it in a little bit, but they're like, Deadshot, kill him. Or kill her, you're a mercenary, blah blah blah. And he's like, alright, I'm gonna aim at him. It's like, oops, I missed, is like the whole act here, because he's the guy that never misses, so obviously you know that it's a joke, like, not a joke, but like he's betraying the government here, and pretending to miss when everyone knows he doesn't miss.
For no reason.
But, like, they have we saw him mercilessly kill someone in the first scene of the entire film. And that's his setup for his character. But he has a special bond
with Harley because Harley said, "Are you in love?" And he was like, "Nope."
They had like one conversation.
That's their entire like bond there.
They had one conversation the whole film basically about a little thing, and so now he won't kill her because reasons. And here's where it gets even worse from a character standpoint: is that he walks back after missing the shot on purpose, and Captain Boomerang, the other character whose entire introduction was shooting somebody in the back. Literally, both these characters shoot people in the backs in their opening scenes. He's like, "You did good, mate," or something like that for like sparing her. And then 2 seconds later, they're like, "Shoot her down," and they shoot her down. And Captain Boomerang and Deadshot are both like, Captain Boomerang says to Deadshot, "You couldn't save her, mate." I'm like, why do you care? Why do you care, Captain Boomerang? Why do either of you care about Harley at all? Because you had even less conversation with her ever. Like, you have no reason to care about her. And you establish that you kill your own teammates on missions. Is your only setup your entire character had. But then it gets even dumber. Even dumber is that they shoot down this helicopter. She falls onto a rooftop somehow, and nobody else gets out because I guess it shook at the last second, so the Joker lost his footing and didn't jump off properly.
Yeah, and then it crashes.
Yeah, so you leave Harley Quinn on this rooftop. What does she do next? She, instead being on the rooftop, she teleports into the street in the rain on top of a car where she's posing when everyone comes down. The people who are just ordered to kill her, by the way, and literally the group of people there are split between one person who tried to kill her and people who are ordered to kill her, and like so like everyone around there are people you don't want to be around, really. And she's just rejoining them. Her collar's disabled now, so they can't kill her, and she has no reason to go down there. And also, why would she go down into the street, go into the middle of the road, climb on top of a car and pose there in the rain and look sulkingly about her Joker friend being dead, so that she can wait for her captors and potential murderers to come back down so that she'd be like, "Did you miss me?" And it's like, that's... Yep. And then she just continues for the rest of the film with the rest of the crew for no reason, when she had no reason to come back at all. And like, that at this point, this specific scene... And this entire sequence was when the entire movie was unredeemable to me because of how every line of dialogue, every action, every cut was the worst shit I've seen in a year. None of this made any sense. It's all terrible writing and terrible special effects in the case of how fake Harley Quinn looks on the rope and everything. And how it sealed the deal, like how pointless the entire Joker subplot was, because he doesn't even break her out or join the crew or join the mission or anything. He literally just comes in and then goes away and then has no impact on the plot, almost as if like he wasn't supposed to be there, because the location she's in after the scene doesn't even match with where she was at the end of the scene that like had the Joker in it, and it's done. But the movie's basically over now.
That really sums up a lot of the problems with Harley and everything, doesn't it? Jesus.
It's the scene that makes you realize that Harley Quinn literally is only in this film to have the Joker in the film, but the Joker doesn't have a reason to be in the film themselves. So it's just pointless scenes and illogical moments happening for no reason. Because this film was written in 6 hours, basically. But
all right, so let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
Talk about the final scene.
There's not much to say.
People fought Incubus. There was a slow motion shot where somebody throws a bomb and somebody shoots the bomb. And the whole time you're thinking, like, this is what the movie built up to. It was a slow motion shot of a bomb flying through the air. I feel nothing. I saw nothing. I wasn't satisfied on an intellectual level, emotional level,
and you're watching this
artistic
final fight.
levels. Yeah.
You're watching this final fight waiting for reasons for all the characters to exist. And, like, you kind of get the most lazy explanation of, like, oh, yeah, the Croc sewer scene. Okay, I guess that's why he's here. But Harley and, both
Harley
Harley
exists to give Deadshot a gun.
Harley and Boomerang don't do anything basically for the entire scene.
Boomerang doesn't do shit.
Boomerang's useless because he has a boomerang, so fuck him. Harley has a bat, and they like there's a slight joke of like, I hit her with the bat and it was useless, and it's like, yeah, that's what I was thinking this whole movie. Why are you here? And like they force the only thing that Harley Quinn does to justify her existence is that she uses Katana's sword to ultimately defeat the bad guy. But Katana could have done that. Why was Katana basically the end result here is that the only characters that mattered for taking down the bad guy were just Diablo, Katana, and Deadshot.
Yeah.
Like, you need Katana's sword to take out the bad guy. You need Katana as a character to keep the characters in line. So, here's my conclusion for this film, basically. Like, how they could have salvaged this entire project and with a premise that was going to work. It should have literally been called Deadshot. Not Suicide Squad. The movie's just called Deadshot, and it's like a sort of like a uncomfortable partnership where Deadshot has a chip in his head where they'll blow him up if he doesn't cooperate, but they need him because he's so ridiculously talented and dangerous. And basically, Katana is his supernatural chaperone character pushing him along this whole mission. And it's a 2-person movie. And it's this. You have a lot of back and forth between these very different characters and them trying to get along because he's all aloof, and the other, like, it would basically be the dynamic of Men in Black,
like a buddy cop.
Yeah, it's the Men in Black situation where one of them's super serious and there for the mission, the other one's like one of them's Will Smith. Like, that's a decent movie, right? And you have
that would be better than this movie.
That would have been so hilariously better.
I think, though, it is worth pointing out one good thing. Is that Will Smith's acting was really good.
Yeah, I mean,
he did a great job.
He makes a lot of money for reasons, for actual reasons.
So, if you want to see, if you want to be like, I want to see Will Smith in a like acting well, and I don't want to see for whatever reason a good movie, then you should definitely check this movie out because that's exactly what you're gonna get.
Because there's just such a lack of Will Smith movies to watch. Just watch any other Will Smith movie where he's actually the main character and gets all the screen time.
Yep.
Because in this one, he doesn't.
3, 4, 5 out of 10, something like that.
Why does he have a mask?
Yeah. I don't know.
He has the Deadshot mask because it's Deadshot mask, but like he puts it on twice. Like his opening scene, he shoots a guy and puts it on and runs away, and then midway through the film,
they can't cover up Will Smith's face because that has too much star power.
Exactly. They have a mask he carries around the entire film just so he can kind of confirm sometimes he looks like Deadpool, like he can look like Deadshot for a second.
Deadpool?
Yeah. Well, he looks like Deadpool too, but he puts the mask on to look like Deadshot for a second, basically, and then just never wears it, but he keeps it on him. So you gotta wonder, like, why does he have this on him all the time? And how did he get it? Because he was a prisoner and everything. This film's a mess. This film's a mess.
We scratched the surface.
We gotta stop.
An hour was a completely not enough time to go over every stone that needs to be turned on this movie.
Like, we're stopping, but all I can think about is, like, I'm going to be thinking of so many things that I wanted to mention because of how much shit goes wrong here. Like, one last thing, just to seal the deal for how stupid the script is. Did you know? And I swear, this is the last thing we're going to talk about because I have to stop myself.
Okay.
Did you notice how the show, they constantly re-explain things over and over again, and then they show you something as like, oh, cool, show don't tell, and then they tell you anyway.
Yeah.
Like over and over again, like Katana, like they establish, oh, don't get cut by her sword, it captures souls. I'm like, okay, you got to say that out loud because it's hard to show that. But then later on, she's like talking to her sword and is like, don't worry, I'll be with you soon, and stuff like that. And it's like the only line of dialogue she has in the entire film.
Then,
it immediately
like,
cuts
Rick Flag is like, her sword has the soul of her husband in it.
Yeah, they have to explain everything every single time over and over again. And it's like, it's so condescending at some point. Alright, so yeah, don't see Suicide Squad if you've watched this. If you've watched this and haven't seen Suicide Squad, please, just don't watch Suicide Squad.
Don't watch Suicide Squad. I saw it in 3D. It was muddy and ass. Don't watch Suicide Squad.
I'm not hyperbolic, and I'm not a fanboy. Like, I don't care about Marvel or whatever, and like, this is there's no conspiracy against DC here that people tried to take out Rotten Tomatoes with a petition for some reason, even though the movie wasn't out yet because people didn't like the film. But like, no, this movie is genuinely badly made on every level, except for visuals. But that's not even an excuse anymore, because like special effects and costumes are just good across the board now. Like that's just the status quo. It's like saying an Xbox One game looks like an Xbox One game now, as opposed to an Xbox 360 game. It's like that's just what they look like now. It's okay. Like don't.
Yeah.
Don't.
Do yourself a favor. Punch yourself in the balls.
Yeah.
If you don't have balls to punch, find somebody that you care about, punch them in the balls, and that'll be a better use of your time than seeing this movie.
Yeah. So this has been two Nerds Save the Universe. Or Save the World. I forget our name of our own show anymore.
We're saving you all, not just the universe. We're saving you specifically.
Wander and Shell will be back next time. We specifically chose.
To do it.
We did this supplementary side episode without them because we knew that it was going to be too much to talk about, and they weren't going to have anything to say about it because they haven't seen it. And so I hope you enjoyed this weird side project. Maybe we'll do one in the future again. It just comes down to if we see something we want to talk about. But yeah. See you guys next time.
Take care.